Argentina is the most racist country in Latin America. And I don't say that lightly. It's the sentiment shared by almost every other country in the region. And this World Cup is putting it on full display. Walk through the crowds right now and you'll hear it. America Latina menos Argentina. Latin America minus Argentina.
America Latina menos Argentina. America Latina menos Argentina. Menos Argentina. America Latina menos Argentina.
That's not a joke, Chan. It's the rest of the hemisphere telling on them. Every country that shares a colonial origin story with Argentina, stolen land, trafficked Africans, a war on indigenous life, still refuses to claim them as one of their own because Argentina spent 2 centuries insisting it was European.
I like how Latinos have an agreement that if our own team gets disqualified, we will just root for any other Latino that's still in the game, except for Argentina.
Now this is some real Latino tea. Argentinians are known to be the most racist in the Latino community by far. However you feel, I think overwhelmingly the reputation is that they are the most racist.
And there's nothing I hate more in this world than anti-blackness, indigenous erasure, racism, and then people who blatantly lie about it. I have never encountered a group of people more committed to defending racism than white Argentines online. I made a video about the erasure of black Argentines, backed it with history, backed it with black Argentines speaking in their own words about racism, and you know how they responded? By proving my point. I've been called a baboon, a donkey, a nigger, a CIA agent, my comments being filled with monkey and banana emojis, coordinated copy and paste campaigns claiming I delete the comments that prove me wrong. I don't have time to delete comments. I don't need to. 9 times out of 10, you're doing the work for me, sitting in my comment section demonstrating the exact racism and delusion the video was about. They're akin to Zionists talking about Israel and lying about the things we can see with our own eyes.
Afro-Argentinians have been fighting for visibility for centuries, all the while their country insists that it's only white and European. And yet, Black history is deeply embedded in Argentina. The tango, African roots. If it wasn't for this, candombe, tango would have never been invented. The famous Argentinian asado. Similar to soul food, it was created by Black women who had to make the best of the scraps given to them. Latin America's most successful racial erasure campaign. Blancamiento, the whitening. From 1880 to 1930, Argentina literally engineered whiteness. The Constitution blocked African and Asian immigration while paying Europeans to come. And to be honest, Argentina was pretty successful in its whitening of society, because how many of y'all are surprised to see this many Afro-Argentines in this video? And that's the thing. People look at Afro-Argentines and assume they're from everywhere, but...
And that's the tell. Racism doesn't run on logic. It never has. It runs on maintenance, and there's a specific sustained psychosis to hold the lie together for 200 years. And white delusion in Argentina is no different than white delusion in any other settler colonial state. It just wears a Boca Juniors jersey instead of a Confederate flag. And when the deflection runs out, it always lands on the same move.
¿Crees que el argentino es racista?
Sí, definitivamente. Pasa algo raro con el argentino. El argentino es racista y como que a veces justifica un poco ese racismo.
Amigo, un argentino, ¿cómo reconoce a un mexicano? Me suena feo.
Argentina es un país muy racista, pero todavía no nos damos cuenta. ¿Cuántas personas conoces que tienen el tono súper marrón y dicen, no, yo no soy negro, yo soy morocho, ¿no? Yo soy trigueño. Y el término trigueño también lo utilizaron para disminuir el porcentaje de población negra acá en Argentina en los censos, en los gobiernos de Rosas, porque era una forma de definir a los que eran un poco más claros. Ese término se inventó para reducir la imagen afro que tenían los demás países acá en Argentina, y todas esas cosas siguen quedando. Si vos ves, el cuarteto es negrísimo. Este país lo construyeron gente afro, lo construyeron indios, lo construyeron personas originarias acá.
America does it worse. Interesting strategy. Invoking American racism to a Black American as a defense against your own country's racism. That's a confession with extra steps. All I do is talk about America's flaws, faults, and failures around the world. That doesn't mean nowhere else is at fault for doing the same. So let's deal with facts, since facts are apparently what set them off in the first place.
Un hombre negro, una gran responsabilidad, ¿sí? Para luchar por mis derechos por los derechos de nuestras naciones y dejar el camino lo más abierto posible para acabar con el racismo.
¿Es algo político para usted?
Sí, es social, es político, es cultural, es todo. O sea, en un sistema racista, o sea, no hay plano donde no haya influencia o consecuencias cuando un sistema racista.
By 1812, close to 200,000 enslaved Africans had been trafficked into the viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata, the territory that became Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay. Slavery wasn't formally abolished until Argentina's 1853 constitution, and even that date is generous since Buenos Aires itself didn't fall in line until 1861. For comparison, New Granada, currently Colombia, abolished slavery in 1852. Venezuela and Peru followed in 1854. The United States didn't end it nationwide until the 13th Amendment in 1865. Argentina was not some enlightened early mover. It was mid-packed at best in a regional wave of abolition. At the moment slavery ended, black people made up roughly a third of Argentina's population. So where did they go? They didn't vanish. They were erased on purpose by policy. The architects have names. This is documented history. Juan Bautista Alberdi, whose writings shaped the 1853 Constitution, coined the doctrine gobernar es poblar. To govern is to populate, and he meant populate with Europeans. He wrote it plainly that Europeans were the masters of America, that without European civilization, the continent would be burning men in sacrifice. That language is baked directly into Article 25 of the Argentine Constitution, which still commits the government to promote European immigration. Then came Domingo Sarmiento, president from 1868 to 1874, who oversaw what historians describe as a covert genocide of Afro-Argentines, pushing black men to the front line of wars, funneling communities into diseased slums, and flooding the country with European immigrants specifically to dilute and outbreed the black and indigenous populations. That is not a conspiracy. That is stated policy, executed by named heads of state. And it worked well enough that in 1993, President Carlos Menem told an audience in the Netherlands that because Argentina abolished slavery early, we don't have black kids. And later, at a lecture at Howard University of all places, he called blackness a Brazilian problem. A sitting Argentine president said that at a historically black university. Let that delusion sink in for you. Compare that to Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, countries that abolished slavery around the same time window and still have visible, undeniable Afro-descendant populations shaping their food, their music, their language, their policies. Argentina didn't just fail to preserve that presence, it engineered its disappearance, then built a national identity, the Paris of South America, on the absence of black people.
Lo negro no es malo. Yo soy negra y no soy mala. Me da bronca sentir que tengo que justificar que soy argentina, porque mis ancestros hicieron muchísimo por este país. Siempre el argentino trató de ser blanco europeo, y por eso mismo siguen pensando que lo negro es malo. Lo negro no es malo. Yo soy negra y no soy mala.
No, there's no people from Africa, no.
Casi todos somos descendientes de italianos o de españoles.
Los grupos en el poder, en Argentina y en otros países de América, trataron de blanquear su población. Eso era el objetivo de modernizar al país, quitando la población indígena a través de matanzas y blanqueando la población negra a través de la inmigración de europeos.
Argentine food still carries that receipt. It's bland, unseasoned, stripped of the spice and flavor every other former slave colony in the Americas kept as inheritance. You can whitewash your census, but you cannot whitewash why your food tastes like nothing. And this isn't just an Argentina problem, and that's the issue I have with all of you guys in my comment section. Brazil runs on the same script with a different accent. Colombia still has to fight for Afro-Colombian visibility. Mexico's anti-indigenous policy runs parallel. Haiti carries the scars of colorism baked by the French colonialism. Every settler colony in the Americas shares the same origin story. Stolen indigenous land, trafficked African bodies, imported Europeans to launder the optics, and every one of them lies about it to a different degree. Argentina just lied about it the loudest and got most people to believe it, including themselves.
No, you guys, if I go to Italy and they start doing this, I'm actually gonna cry. It'll take me back to like when I used to get bullied in Argentina.
You got bullied in Argentina?
Yeah, all the time growing up.
Oh, because that's Argentina's mad racist, huh?
Yeah, I guess they are. They are racist, and they're also like white kids all the time. Because like me and my brothers were the only Asians in the school.
Was that a kid?
Well, he was a school. Yeah, 2 brothers, and we would always get this, like this.
So, when the World Cup puts that mythology on a global stage, when the rest of Latin America sings Menos Argentina in the stands, when black Argentines speak on camera about the racism they navigate daily, when the history is sitting in the Constitution itself, the reaction shouldn't be defensiveness. It should be reckoning. Instead, it's baboon emojis and slurs in my comments from people so committed to the myth of a white Argentina that they'll enact the very same racism they're denying in real time to prove me wrong. Racism requires maintenance. It requires a nation to keep lying to itself for 200 years, generation after generation, just to avoid looking at what it did to get here. Argentina didn't lose its black population, it buried it and called the grave a constitution. And as always, stay blessed and stay black. And may the truth set you guys free.